In June, Virginia became the fourth state in the nation to enter into a national agreement to end veteran homelessness by the close of 2015. It's a big assignment, but one being undertaken with gusto in Norfolk through a collaborative that includes a host of agencies, community partners, and funding resources. Joining me are Michael Wasserberg, who is director for the Norfolk Office to End Homelessness. Welcome, Michael. Carol Berg is regional director for the Virginia Wounded Warrior Program, and Martha Chick Eby is the homeless coordinator with Hampton's Virginia Medical or VA Medical Center. Now, we have three really strong people here who represent different entities throughout the state and are speaking from different levels, but also work very closely together. And part of that figures into the national announcement and national agreement, which, Michael, from a very local perspective in Norfolk, is a charge that sounds rather familiar in terms of timelines.
Well, ending homelessness has truly been on the radar screens for a while. The 2015 date, I think, is one that is very doable and truly has kind of accelerated our involvement at the City of Norfolk to work with our partners throughout the region to see an end to veteran homelessness as we know it in Norfolk, Memorial Day of 2015.
Okay, all right, so that's actually even sooner.
That's our goal.
Right, good, and that gives you something to go for.
Right.
And Carol, as far as the number of veterans that we are dealing with just statewide is large, and then homeless veterans still a relatively large number.
They are, and I think one of the things that we need to take a look at is in our region, because we're so focused with our military, we have the VA Medical Center here, and that tends to increase our homeless numbers as well. So coordinating resources between all of our agencies is really the best way to address the issue.
Okay, and resources are there, but it's how you use them, how well you use them, how efficiently you use them, and deliver those services is what the collaborative is all about.
Exactly.
So everybody here has a stake in this. Martha Chick Eby with the VA is quite knowledgeable about the homeless veterans, and you are the homeless coordinator for the region. So you have some pretty good first-hand knowledge of what's going on out there.
Yes, I've been working in the homeless veteran program at the Hampton VA for 14 years, and I've seen it evolve from an outreach worker to the past 4 years when we've been working on the charge to end veteran homelessness and all the new resources that have come into play. The VA has a 5-year plan that has what they call 6 pillars, and they include outreach and education, treatment services, income and vocational assistance, as well as prevention and housing resources. And then the last one, which is vital to make them all come together, is community partnerships, because this is something that the VA can't do on our own. No matter how many resources the VA may obtain, it's a community and a VA charge. So we need to be working closely with the community in order to meet the goal.
The first 5 items you mentioned were all kind of focused on basically the needs of these veterans, because that's what addressing those needs, which are maybe specific to the veteran population.
Well, there's actually, with homeless veterans, there are also subpopulations in there. There are chronically homeless veterans, which are veterans that may have been homeless for a year or more, or 4 or more times in the past 3 years. There are also increasing numbers of families and individuals with children and couples. How they have research over many years with homeless in the community, veterans and civilians, has found that typically about 30% of folks that become homeless, 30 to 35%, actually solve it on their own with assistance from just family and friends and whatnot. You know, another 30 to 35% actually need short-term assistance. Maybe they need medical treatment, maybe they need a drug or alcohol treatment program, maybe they need help with getting income or benefits, and usually 2 to 5 months assistance, and they can be on their feet. And then there's a last 30% or so considered the chronic, which the VA is feeling these folks without long-term assistance will be homeless, so they're going to need long-term permanent supportive housing assistance.
We just had up on the screen a phone number for a veteran homeless hotline, and this is part of the VA's effort to reach out to. And you have just heard recently about just how much response there has been. How long has this number been available, and what has the response been?
Oh, the number's been available for about 4 years now, and I've been doing all the reports, and I've been one of the main points of contact for that number. Typically, when a veteran calls that number, within 24 business hours of the call, we're to call them back. We get a consult electronically on the web and a voicemail. And we are tied for number 11 in the whole country of 137 facilities with the number of calls and consults that we receive.
Wow. So that's pretty high up there, and it really does tell you.
Yeah,
that
over
the need is there.
1,000 calls since last October. So.
Well, and I think one of the key things that we talked briefly about before was the partnerships. You know, the VA can't serve all of the veterans because there are limitations on, length of service and discharge status and things like that. So bringing in an organization like ours with the Virginia Wounded Warrior Program, we're able to serve all Virginia veterans. So that becomes a force extender for the VA when there's an issue that they need to have addressed for a homeless veteran. Mike and I come on board to be able to make sure that we're marshaling the community resources and developing those partnerships in the community to help meet their goal.
And, this whole effort in the city level actually began almost a year ago when the city and Norfolk Rehabilitation Housing Authority went off to boot camp. It's when the first time I got to meet Marty and a lot of the other players who are involved in this. And what we aim to do from that boot camp, and what we think we've been doing over these last months, is really creating an efficient system, working together, driving down the length of time it takes from someone to become homeless to move back into housing. And so those are some of the keys if we're going to solve this problem, is to continue that effort.
Okay. We've got, from the local level, we do have some efforts going on that, well, I don't know if we have time to get into all of them, but you do have one called Housing Our Heroes.
Housing Our Heroes. That is what we tagged the effort as we left boot camp in Philadelphia. We have been meeting on a regular basis, seems like constantly sometimes, really to identify what resources exist in the community, to take a more, offensive approach, not to offend anybody, but instead of being on defense, trying to respond to someone when they become homeless, to actually put a system in place so that when an individual loses their personal residence, we have the means to be able to help them address their current needs and move back into permanent housing and become self-sufficient in a short period of time.
I was reading that the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs says that that Virginia veterans will increase to about 850,000 just in Virginia alone by the year 2017. It just shows that there are going to be more and more veterans out there. Do you see this, the streamlining, this attempt to garner resources more effectively and lay out some plans of action that work well for all as sort of laying the foundation for future challenges?
Absolutely. I think we're looking at the rapid rehousing concept, the housing first, moving our veterans and our homeless populations into housing, then developing the wraparound services, creating the linkages in the community, doing the care coordination, so that we can address all of the needs, whether it's housing, employment, behavioral health, medical care. I think this is the way we need to be looking at it. As these populations increase, as veterans continue to separate from service after Iraq and Afghanistan, we're going to see the population continue and increase. And the only way we can make it work is to develop those partnerships and relationships in the community so that we have those resources available.
So this is, people feeling pretty positive about this right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We
Well,
are.
it's certainly getting a lot of support and a lot of attention, which is, of course, you can't pay for that because it's just so valuable to be able to have, to be accepted into that level of attention. And the VA, I know your dealings over the years, you have definitely seen an evolution in how the response has changed, the attitudes and perceptions of this, the importance, the level of importance that people are now embracing for assisting veterans, whether they are part of the veteran population in terms of eligibility for certain services, or the broader population who may really require something beyond that, your force extenders, as you call it. What is, if in terms of our population, how many of our vets are what they would consider chronically homeless, and has that changed over the past
With
few years?
Norfolk, my latest figures are about 28 to 30% of the intakes that we do in Norfolk are veterans that meet that chronic homeless criteria. That number has definitely gone down substantially over years. That has always been chronic mental illness, substance abuse, and a lot of the issues that chronically homeless veterans face, or chronically homeless individuals face, has always been the focus historically of the homeless programs at the VA. And in recent years, though, that has just expanded tremendously. That is no longer just the focus, any type of homeless issue. So vocational issues, family issues, income issues, the hotline. There's also a program where we have some social workers that do outreach into the prisons and the local jails. We have a lot more funding for vocational assistance and integration with the community programs. And there's also a program the state has, Virginia Values Veterans, with really focusing on the vocational, so that we can have what to call a rapid response system to alleviate. What part of ending homelessness does not mean that there'll never be another homeless veteran. That would be nice if that was the case, because we can't always control the crises that may cause someone to become homeless. But the goal is that folks will not be languishing on the streets or going from homeless program to homeless program to homeless program, and that the folks that have been chronically homeless will be housed, and anyone that becomes newly homeless will have a rapid response system to reduce that homelessness to the minimum possible.
To put perspective to the number that Marty put out there, when we returned from boot camp, we took a look back at the previous year and actually found that our agencies in the VA had served 417 veterans. So that's a large number.
Wow, and that's in Norfolk?
That's just in Norfolk.
Yeah, that's just in Norfolk. For the whole catchment area for the Hampton VA, it's much over 1,000, but for just Norfolk, it's about 30% of our numbers.
You know, and as Marty indicated, you know, one of the big things that we need to take a look at is the employment as well. And we're creating, through the Virginia Wounded Warrior Program, an interdisciplinary team with the VEC, where we're going to have a housing resource specialist, a resource specialist to help with issues, and also someone from the VEC, a disabled veteran outreach person, who will be part of our team to go out and to deal with chronic veteran homelessness and try to get them engaged in employment in addition to their housing. So it's a dual effort that we're trying to generate with all of our partners, and I think it's going to be very successful.
Well, it sounds like this is really just getting started, and there's so much more that's still going on or about to be. So I think that we'll probably be revisiting this quite a bit. And I know our time's up already, believe it or not. But thank you so much for sharing your perspective and your insight and your information. It's very, very good information, and our general population really benefits, I think, from understanding just how important this all is to our community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, if you're thinking about all the things you need to plan for as you head toward retirement, you may as well have some fun while you're doing it. More on an event you won't want to miss in just a moment.